Hello everybody, my name is Kellen with Apex Archery. I would argue that since the invention of the bow and arrow thousands and thousands of years ago, hunters and humans have been looking for options to keep their equipment off of the muddy ground when they are out there in the field and utilizing their equipment. I also happen to think that we are getting very, very close to the absolute best that is going to be available as far as various options to keep our bows off the ground when we're out there in the field. Today we're going to be doing a quick comparison video looking at the Go Stix 2.0 from Hoyt compared to the EXO Engage Limb Legs system from Mathews. First, let's go ahead and take a look at the Go Stix 2.0, which was featured in our review earlier this year on the Alpha X platform. Speaking again though of those actual stabilizer positions, I wanted to show off a very cool aftermarket accessory that is available from Hoyt, and that is their Go Stix 2.0. So that attaches to that lower mount position, and when you loosen these two kind of set screws here, you can actually adjust those legs into predefined positions to create a 3 contact point surface in using that back cam assembly as well, to allow you to just kind of set that bow down and leave it without actually putting the cam in the dirt. And then again, just to show you on that HBX exact cam, on the bottom cam there, they do machine in this little kind of piece of aluminum here with a rubber gasket around it, creating that 3rd contact point. So a really nice feature from Hoyt that may work with some of the other manufacturers that are also including that lower stabilizer position. Of note, what's cool about this overall design is it does allow you to use those spring-loaded feet to move those legs into positions that might be easier to carry out in the field, or might be really easy to kind of store when you actually have it in your bow case or you have this bow in transit. So you don't actually need to remove those Go Stix in order to kind of keep it on there and just kind of travel with your bow, be it through the brush or in your case. So a really, really cool evolution of the Go Stix platform. And again, that is an aftermarket accessory option from Hoyt this year. All right, so as we can see, a very cool engineering solution by way of a contact point stand for the Go Stix 2.0 coming from Hoyt. Now let's turn our attention to an earlier review we had done for the Lift platform and take a look at the EXO Engage Limbs, new from Mathews for 2024. Last but not least, let's talk about stand options. So I actually think Mathews maybe does the best job with the stands. They have a patent on these limb legs, which clip right into the limb pocket itself and kind of twist around there to create a 3 contact point stand for the bow that keeps the entire bow up off the ground. Not only is it easy to install, but it's also very, very lightweight. They have moved to what they're calling the Engage EXO limb legs, so it is a new design for this year specific to the width of this particular limb pocket, but it is very, very lightweight. And because it does touch just the limb pocket, you can actually leave it on there during all of your shooting. So if you want, plan on having that on there as an aftermarket accessory if you plan on setting your bow down, and just go ahead and balance and shoot your bow with those Engage limb legs right there and in place. A really, really cool system, and just continuing to get better with the Lift 33 from Mathews. All right, as we can see, 2 very cool engineered offerings from Hoyt and Mathews as far as set it down and forget it type accessories to attach to your hunting bow. Next thing, I thought we would go ahead and actually take a look at the weight of these systems. There's so much emphasis this year on lighter and lighter overall platforms from the various bow manufacturers out there this year that every single ounce counts. So let's go ahead and use our scale and take a look at the Go Stix 2.0 and all of the required mounting hardware to affix that to your bow. And that system is tipping the scales at 126 grams. Next, let's take a look at the EXO Engage Limb Legs. That coming in at 142. So, 142 to 126, we're getting about a 16-gram difference between those 2 systems. Both of them very, very lightweight. I think it's going to be very easy to balance your bow if you choose to run these systems on your hunting rig this year. Last but not least, let's wrap up by examining what I think are the overall kind of pros and cons of these 2 competing systems. Let's start with the Go Stix 2.0. First things first, we have to say ultra lightweight, right? Again, every single ounce counts, and these are coming in as the lightest solution from either of these manufacturers this year, albeit by just a couple of grams, but in any event, this is the lightest solution, so we have to give our nod to Hoyt with that particular engineering. Overall, too, I would say that one of the pros of this system is the very low mounting position. So this is designed, again, to go to that lower stabilizer mounting position that is coming standard on the entire Hoyt range now. Again, remember, we're trying to get a lot of the center of mass of our stabilizers and added accessories as central and low as is possible so that that thing really balances at full draw. So by engineering a system that does kind of attach to that lower system, again, we're adding mass down low and lowering the center of mass of our bow. Next would be the new kind of movable and predefined leg positions, which are really easy and convenient to find with various clicks. Again, that allows us to streamline the system by orienting those limbs forward when we're out moving so that we're aligned to that lower stabilizer if that's where we choose to shoot, or to go ahead and actually orient that backward kind of into the bow itself for that stow and go. Or again, another option if maybe you're not running that lower stabilizer mounting position and you're out in the field and kind of moving through brush and the like. Next would be the overall compatibility of the Hoyt system. So remember, Hoyt is not the only manufacturer to incorporate that lower stabilizer mounting position. We did have the chance to test this with at least 2 other bows that do have that lower stabilizer position, and this did kind of fit right to those bows and allowed you to enjoy the limb legs, even if it wasn't necessarily a Hoyt bow, although we haven't necessarily seen it advertised in that way. So lots of compatibility with different bow manufacturers, again, that are including that lower stabilizer mounting position. And last but not least would be the new option with the position of those legs, that if you do choose to utilize the lower mounting position for that stabilizer that can integrate with kind of this quick disconnect nut system, if you choose to run that stabilizer and you're running something and call it like the 6 to 8 inch range, you can actually use that as your third contact point and tip the entire system forward, keeping the entire bow assembly up off the ground. If I were to run this and if I could get my bow to balance the way that I wanted it to, again, using that 6 or 8 inch stabilizer down in that lower position, that's probably how I would try to utilize the Go Stix 2.0 for this year. Now let's talk about some of the cons of the system. So it's hard to ignore the price on this guy. This is coming in at $139.99, so a more expensive offering from Hoyt for the Go Stix this year. It's also a little bit more tricky and permanent as far as the actual install procedure itself. So if you do want to shoot with just, a stabilizer and you want kind of the lightest weight setup that you can possibly have, the Go Stix 2.0 are probably not going to be the best option because it's so finicky to get the different kind of set screws installed and get this thing actually on your bow. It's not like you're going to sit down every time you take it out and take the time to want to wrench and reinstall and uninstall this particular system. So, kind of a minor con there if the weight is a concern to you. And last but not least, I do think a lot of people are going to end up utilizing the system by actually utilizing the cam as that third contact point. Even with that little extrusion that's engineered now into the HBX Exact cams from Hoyt, you are still placing the string channel and the cam itself, as well as the actual string, very, very close to mud, dirt, debris that could kind of get collected in that string channel where maybe you don't necessarily want it. So if you do choose to run it with that option, just know you have to be a little bit careful where you actually kind of set the actual bow down. Now let's move into the same pros and cons list for the EXO Engage Limb Legs from Mathews. I would say again that one of the pros of this particular system is that it is very lightweight. Again, coming in just a few grams heavier than the offering from Hoyt, so still a very, very lightweight solution. I would also say that one of the major pros as well is the price. That is only $79.99 compared to, again, the $139.99 for the Hoyt system. It also offers the lowest possible mounting position. So again, remember, if we're adding that mass, doing it down kind of right beneath the riser itself, attaching to the limb pocket, is a great place to actually add mass to the system. And then one of the major pros of the system has to be the actual clearance that it offers. As we saw in the video from our lift review, it actually comes contained with all 3 contact points, and the entire bow is oriented well up away from the ground with the cam, inches and inches clear of the ground, mud, dirt, debris that again could collect in that string channel and actually affect the string and shooting performance of the bow over time. And then the final pro for this particular system is just the ease of install. So unlike the Hoyt system that I think is going to be more of a permanent fixture on your bow, if you do want to remove this often or whenever you're actually shooting the bow and kind of slap it back on there, it can easily be done with one hand in just a handful of seconds. So a very easy system to add and remove from your bow, again, if you don't want to shoot with the limb legs on there all the time, although that is an option since it is only making contact with the actual limb pocket itself. Now let's talk about some of the cons of the EXO limb legs. And the first one is a pretty major one. First and foremost, this is only available for Mathews bows, and it is only compatible with those bows. And in fact, their new EXO system is only compatible with the new Go Forward platform and that wider limb pocket, although they do offer Engage Limb Legs for some of their past models as well. And then the last one, which is a relatively minor con, is it does add incrementally a little bit of length to the bottom of the effective kind of riser platform itself. So if you're someone who's maybe selecting to shoot that 29.5-inch model and you like things ultra short and compact for lots and lots of clearance in your ground blind, in your tree, kind of through brush, leaving these installed, it does add incrementally just a little bit of things like the legs themselves that could catch or maybe be a little bit of a detriment in the field. So that is our overall summary of these two terrific solutions from Hoyt and Mathews. A little bit of a deviation from the normal bow reviews that we're doing, although I'll promise we're going to get back on track with those shortly. If you like this content, please go ahead and give us a like and subscribe to the channel. It helps so much in terms of my ability to continue to deliver this high quality archery gear reviews to you, the public. And then as always the case, I want to go ahead and give a quick shout out and thank you to Bear Creek Archery in Inglewood, Colorado. Again, a friend of the channel and generous enough to be donating a lot of the different equipment that we're actually putting on test this year. Also happens to be my home shop where I do all of my tinkering and bow buying. So if you're in the Front Range in Colorado, please go see my friends over at Bear Creek Archery. All right, that's a good wrap up here on these terrific limb leg options coming from Hoyt and Mathews this year. Again, I'm Kellen with Apex Archery, and I sincerely hope to see you on the next one.